You're trying to change, aren't you? You're reading, watching, meditating, affirming, and yet, everything seems to circle back to the same familiar place. You wake up with hope, only to feel that creeping weight return by midday. The thoughts echo, like a loop you can't escape. The emotions flare up in patterns you thought you had broken. There's a silent frustration inside you, a sense that something invisible is pulling you back, even when you're doing all the right things. You begin to wonder, is it me? Is something wrong with me? But what if nothing is wrong? What if you're not broken, just looping through a system that was never meant to keep you evolving? Let's get honest. You are not stuck because you're weak. You are stuck because your biology is repeating a program it believes is safe. Deep within you, a part of your identity has been memorized into your nervous system like a broadcast on autopilot. It's not just a habit. It's not just old memories. It's a full-body transmission of yesterday being projected into today. And the reason you keep waking up to the same emotional reality is not because you lack discipline. It's because your body has already decided who you are before your conscious mind even opens its eyes. This is the hidden architecture of your identity, formed not by choice, but by necessity. Your past created patterns to survive pain, rejection, disappointment, and over time those patterns became who you thought you were. Not because you chose them, but because your biology recorded them. It stored fear as vigilance. It stored shame as silence. It stored sadness as self-protection. And every morning, before your conscious self takes a breath, this unconscious identity is already running the show. Neuroscience tells us that by the age of 35, 95% of who we are is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, and beliefs. That means only 5% of your day is being created by choice. The rest is a well-rehearsed play, acted out by a version of you built in response to the past. It's not just mental, it's neurochemical. The feelings you repeat most often become chemical signatures that your cells crave. Yes, you can become addicted to frustration, to unworthiness, to overthinking. Not because you enjoy it, but because it's familiar, and familiarity feels safe. Your body doesn't know the difference between what's good for you and what's simply known, so it keeps choosing the known, even if the known is pain. This is the loop, a neurochemical loop where your emotions dictate your actions. Your actions reinforce your identity, and your identity calls in the same life, over and over. You are not experiencing life as it is. You are experiencing life as your body remembers it. This is the secret prison, one made not of walls, but of reactions, of reflexes, of identities that no longer serve the highest you. Think of your body like a transmitter. Each morning it starts broadcasting the same frequency based on past programming. That frequency becomes the signal the universe responds to. And no matter how strong your desires are, if the signal doesn't change, neither will the outcome. That's why change feels so hard. You are not just changing your thoughts. You are detoxing from a biochemical identity. You are reprogramming decades of automatic response. You are stepping outside of a survival loop and asking your system to believe in something it cannot yet feel. This takes courage. This takes awareness. And most of all, this takes compassion. Because if you can understand that your loop is not your fault, you can begin to dissolve it with clarity instead of shame. You can start observing your default reactions and gently interrupt them, not by force, but with presence. And that, right there, is the beginning of liberation. You've just seen how the body becomes a transmitter of yesterday, how familiar emotions and habits silently shape your identity, and how your biology keeps repeating the past unless consciously interrupted. But now, we go deeper. If you are not the past, then who are you? If your emotions are not the truth but a broadcast, then who is watching the broadcast? This is the beginning of awakening. And it starts with becoming the observer, not the reactor, not the identity, the observer. In the world of quantum physics, observation is not passive, it is creative. When a particle exists in a field of infinite possibilities, it only collapses into one form when it is observed. That act of observation turns potential into reality. It shapes the outcome. And here is the truth most people never realize. Your inner world works the same way. When you observe a thought, a fear, a belief, without becoming it, you are collapsing a wave of probability. You are making a choice. The moment you step back from your identity and see it with clarity, you are no longer inside the pattern. You are above it. You are the one who can change it. This is not philosophy. This is neurobiology. When you enter the seat of the observer, something profound happens in your brain. You activate the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for higher thinking, decision-making, and conscious choice. At the same time, you calm the amygdala, the alarm system that fuels emotional reactivity and fear. In essence, by observing yourself without judgment, you are rewiring your brain. You are weakening the circuits of the old identity and strengthening the neural pathways of conscious awareness. Over time, your entire nervous system begins to shift. You move from survival to creation, from reaction to presence, from limitation to freedom. The act of witnessing your inner world with compassion and clarity begins to liberate you from the trap of the old self. This is where transformation becomes real, and science is catching up. Studies using brain imaging have shown that consistent mindfulness or conscious witnessing actually reshapes neural networks. The default mode network, associated with overthinking and ego-based identity, begins to quiet. Meanwhile, regions of the brain linked to emotional regulation and compassion begin to strengthen. But the shift doesn't stop at the brain. It echoes throughout the entire body. Because your nervous system is not just in your head, it's in your heart. And this is where the next layer of truth emerges. According to research from the HeartMath Institute, your heart produces an electromagnetic field that is over 60 times stronger than that of the brain. This field radiates outwards, broadcasting your emotional state into the environment around you. And when your heart is in a state of coherence, meaning your emotions are aligned with peace, gratitude, love, your entire system synchronizes. Your brain and heart begin to work in harmony. Your immune system strengthens. Your intuition sharpens. Your perception of the world changes. This state is not mystical. It is measurable. It is the frequency of alignment. And when you emit this coherent signal, you no longer attract from lack. You attract from truth. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. So if your inner world is chaotic, fearful, and full of resistance, even the most detailed vision boards and affirmations will fall flat. But when your inner world becomes coherent, stable, aligned with elevated emotion, you become magnetic. You are no longer shouting your desires while vibrating with doubt. You are radiating congruence. And that congruence is the tuning fork that shapes your reality. This is why becoming the observer is step one. Because you can't change what you're entangled with. You must create space between who you've been and who you choose to become. In that space, you regain power. In that pause, you rewire the signal. In that presence, you begin to attract a new timeline. Because reality is not linear. You are not walking toward your future in a straight line. You are standing in the center of a field of infinite now moments. And each moment offers a different potential, a different version of you, a different life. Your job is not to fight your way to success or force your way into healing. Your job is to tune your frequency, to shift your state of being, to remember that the future is not ahead of you. It is already existing in another frequency, and your access to it begins the moment you decide to live as the version of you who already inhabits it. This is not wishful thinking. This is alignment. This is embodiment. This is physics. And it begins the moment you observe without judgment. The moment you stop identifying with the pain. The moment you stop becoming the thought. The moment you see yourself clearly from the seat of awareness and say, I am not this fear. I am not this pattern. I am the one who sees it. I am the one who chooses. That is the moment the old identity begins to collapse. That is the moment the brain begins to rewire. That is the moment the heart begins to open. And that is the moment a new version of you is born. One who no longer needs to be saved. One who no longer plays victim to the past. One who realizes they were always the creator. You have begun to witness the signs. The signals that tell you your inner world is no longer in conflict with your desire. You are observing from the seat of awareness. You are no longer the identity built from fear or repetition. But there is one step that many avoid. A step that feels symbolic but is actually energetic. To shift timelines, you must release what was never really you. This is the moment of quantum transition, the moment you gently, consciously dissolve the old self. It begins with a simple but powerful ritual. Close your eyes and bring awareness to the version of you that has carried your story. This version has walked through fear, worn the mask of doubt, and built defenses to survive. Let this identity take a shape in your imagination. Maybe it has a name. Maybe it feels like a weight, a color, or a symbol. Give it form so that you can give it freedom. Speak to it with truth and compassion. Say, "Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for holding my life together when I didn't know another way. But now, I am choosing to live without this armor. I am ready to remember who I am beneath the story." As you say these words, imagine taking off a heavy coat. This coat is not bad. It is simply too small now. It once shielded you from the storm. But now it restricts your movement. As you release it, feel your energy expand. This is not performance. This is quantum declaration. It is the first signal to the field that you are no longer choosing from the past. You are creating from the present, and your brain begins to listen. Neuroplasticity is the miracle of your biology. It means your brain is constantly rewiring based on how you use it. Every time you think a new thought, feel a new emotion, or make a new choice, your neurons begin forming new connections. These connections grow stronger with repetition. Meanwhile, the old pathways, the ones linked to doubt, fear, and limitation, begin to dissolve through lack of use. Your identity is not fixed, it is fluid, and every conscious decision is a brushstroke, painting a new version of you. But repetition is only half of the equation. Rest is the other half. During deep rest, the brain consolidates learning. The new signals become stable. The nervous system adapts. This is why true transformation is not just about effort. It is also about integration. If you are always pushing, you are not anchoring. And what is not anchored will not last. Rest is not passive. It is the soil where new identity takes root. So give yourself space. Let the nervous system breathe. Let the change become embodied. Because embodiment is the language the universe understands. The field does not respond to words. It responds to frequency. And your frequency is communicated not only through thoughts, but through action. This is where micro-behavior becomes a portal. The way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you speak. These are not background details. They are energetic signals. Ask yourself, how does the future me hold themselves in a room? How do they react under pressure? How do they speak to themselves in silence? Begin to live from those answers, not because you are pretending, but because you are choosing alignment. Every step you take with confidence signals a new reality. Every deep breath in the face of discomfort becomes an anchor for peace. Every kind word you speak to yourself sends a message to your cells. You are training your body to trust the new identity. You are replacing instinctive defense with conscious embodiment. Think of the old self as a suit of armor. It was forged in challenge. It protected you. But now, it is too tight. It creaks with every step. It weighs you down. And while it kept you safe, It also kept you small. You cannot fly with chains, so you bless the armor, you thank it, and then you let it fall. This release is not dramatic. It is intentional. It is not rejection. It is liberation. And what fills the space it leaves behind is a new possibility, a new version of you who is not held together by fear, but expanded by love, who is not driven by proving, but grounded in being, who no longer needs permission to exist. They have chosen to show up. This is quantum shifting, the decision to live as if the change has already occurred, not to wait for evidence, but to become the evidence. You are no longer reacting to life. You are composing it. With each breath, each thought, each choice, you are walking into a timeline that already exists in the field, and your alignment becomes the signal that calls it in. No force, no struggle, just clarity. This is the path of the quantum creator, the one who honors the past without living in it, the one who listens to the body and chooses differently, the one who knows that real change is not a performance. It is a remembrance. You are not becoming someone else. You are returning to who you truly are. And with every choice aligned with that truth, you step deeper into a life that reflects your inner reality, a life that feels like freedom, a life that begins now. As you begin to embody the new frequency, as you start living from alignment rather than memory, something begins to shift around you. It's subtle at first, then it becomes undeniable. You start to notice patterns, moments that feel too perfect to be random, people showing up at just the right time, a song playing with the exact message you needed, ideas landing in your mind like whispers from a higher place. These are not coincidences, these are synchronicities, the outward reflection of your inward shift. When your frequency changes, the world must respond. Because the universe is not static, it is responsive, it is relational, it echoes your vibration back to you. These moments of synchronicity are confirmation. They are signals that your internal broadcast is being received. You are not pulling life toward you with force. You are resonating with it through energy. This is the law of coherence. When your inner world is aligned, your outer world reflects that alignment. You become like a tuning fork, and everything on the same frequency begins to harmonize with you. People, opportunities, insights, even time itself begins to rearrange in support of your state of being. The synchronicities are not magic. They are mirrors. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate in unity, the universe recognizes the signal. It begins to organize itself around your clarity. What once felt blocked or chaotic begins to open. Life feels different because you are different. And what you're feeling is the shift from control to flow. Flow is not about passive surrender. It is about active resonance. It is the result of no longer forcing outcomes, but becoming the outcome. It is the peace that comes when you stop chasing and start aligning. You do not need to hunt for your future. You need to tune into it. And the tuning is internal. The moment you stop trying to control the external is the moment the external starts responding in unexpected ways. This is why letting go of the old self was necessary, because the old self was broadcasting fear, broadcasting doubt, broadcasting lack. And now, the new signal is broadcasting truth, broadcasting wholeness, broadcasting readiness. That shift in signal creates a shift in timeline, not because you demand it, but because you match it. You feel it in your body first, a sense of calm where there was once tension, a sense of clarity where there was once confusion. You begin to trust your instincts again. Your decisions come from alignment, not anxiety. You feel guided without needing to explain why. You act without second guessing. You move through life like water flows through a riverbed. You don't have to force every step. You don't need to push against the current. Because now, you are in flow with it. Imagine floating in a river. Before, you were trying to swim upstream, fighting the direction, exhausting yourself to stay afloat. Now you have turned around. You are allowing the current to carry you, not because you've given up, but because you've remembered. Remembered that the river already knows where to go, that life already wants to take you to your highest timeline. But it can only do so when you stop resisting it. This is effortless flow, not because there is no effort, but because the effort is no longer friction. It is momentum. You are not leaking energy into old identities. You are focusing your energy into new possibilities, and the universe responds to that focus with precision. This is the dance between energy and environment. You vibrate, life echoes, and every synchronicity becomes a breadcrumb leading you deeper into coherence, deeper into trust, deeper into your true self. These are the signs that you are no longer trying to manifest from desperation. You are creating from embodiment. You are no longer waiting for evidence. You are becoming the evidence. And that shift is what changes everything. As you continue to align with your new frequency and witness the synchronicities unfolding around you, something deeper begins to surface. It is the quiet resistance, the subtle voice that questions your worth, the feeling that perhaps you are not ready, not capable, not enough. This is not your truth. This is your programming. At the root of every limitation you encounter is a belief that was not born from your power, but from your protection. These are what we call limiting beliefs, and they are often not yours by choice. They were formed in early experiences when your nervous system was still learning what was safe, what was acceptable, and what was required for love. As a child, you did not have language for trauma. You only had adaptation. So when you felt unseen, you concluded you were not valuable. When you were criticized, you decided you must always be perfect. When you were abandoned, you learned to expect rejection. These beliefs became survival codes, silent contracts you made with yourself to stay safe. They helped you navigate the world. But now, they hold you back from your evolution. They are no longer protection. They are prisons. And what makes them so powerful is how invisible they are. They hide inside your automatic thoughts. They whisper through your hesitation. They shape your decisions without your awareness. But here is what you must remember. A belief is not truth. It is just a practiced thought you've accepted as identity. And anything that was learned can be unlearned. That is the beginning of liberation. Imagine an elephant that was trained since childhood with a rope tied to its leg. As a baby, the rope kept it from moving. But now, fully grown, the elephant is strong enough to break free. Yet it doesn't even try, because it still believes the rope has power. This is how limiting beliefs work. The rope is no longer real. The cage is no longer locked, but the mind still obeys an old command. The belief still governs your reality, not because it is true, but because it was never questioned. And now, it is time to question it. Not with force, not with judgment, but with awareness. Ask yourself, gently, where did this belief come from? Whose voice first planted this idea in me? Is it still true today? What becomes possible if I let this go? This is not about blame, it is about clarity. You are not attacking the past, you are reclaiming your future. Every belief that says you are not enough is an echo of a younger self trying to make sense of a chaotic world. That younger self needs your compassion, not your criticism. When you meet these beliefs with love, they begin to dissolve. Because they are not built on logic, they are built on emotion. And emotion is energy. Energy can be shifted. When you stop feeding a belief with attention, it begins to fade. When you choose new thoughts consistently, your brain rewires, your chemistry changes, your identity evolves. This is the power of unlearning. the act of letting go of what no longer fits who you are becoming. You do not need to fix yourself. You need to release the ideas that told you you were broken. You do not need to become someone else. You need to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. And that remembering begins with a decision to stop repeating the story, a decision to rewrite the narrative, a decision to believe something new, not because you need proof, but because you are the proof. You are walking evidence that beliefs are not permanent. That change is not only possible, but inevitable when awareness meets intention. So take a breath and ask yourself, what belief am I ready to retire today? What truth am I ready to live instead? This is not just mental work. This is energetic transformation. And it begins with one simple realization. You are not your beliefs. You are the one who chooses them. You now understand that you are not bound by the beliefs of your past. You have the power to unlearn what no longer serves you. But awareness alone is not enough. Transformation requires structure. It requires a rhythm, a ritual. Because a new identity is not built in a single breakthrough. It is built in the small moments, repeated with intention. And this is where daily practice becomes sacred. Every morning before the noise of the world enters, take a pause. Sit with yourself. Breathe. And ask one question with full presence. Who do I choose to be today? Not someday, not in theory, today. Let that question anchor you into your new timeline. It is not about chasing perfection. It is about choosing presence, choosing embodiment, choosing alignment with the version of you who already lives the life you desire. And then, throughout the day, life will test you. A trigger will appear. An old emotion will surface. The past will knock. In those moments, return to awareness. Instead of reacting from habit, whisper to yourself, "This is residue. This is not who I am anymore." That simple statement creates space. It disrupts the automatic pattern. It reminds your nervous system that you are in charge, that you are no longer bound by outdated programming. This is not suppression. It is observation. It is choosing not to give old energy a new home. Every time you do this, you stabilize your signal. You become the consistent broadcaster of your new identity. And consistency is what solidifies a new timeline. Transformation is not a giant leap. It is a series of micro choices. It is choosing compassion over self-criticism, stillness over reaction, intention over impulse. These choices become your ritual, and ritual creates identity. This is not about routines that feel forced. It is about sacred habits that feel aligned. Drinking water with awareness, moving your body with presence, speaking to yourself with kindness. These are not small acts. They are energetic declarations. Each one tells the universe, I am ready, I am aligned, I am consistent. You are no longer proving who you are. You are practicing who you are. This is embodiment, the moment when who you want to be and how you live become one. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And over time, these small habits build momentum. They create an energetic current that carries you, a current that stabilizes your new state. So ask yourself, what are the simple daily anchors I can commit to? What words will I speak to myself when old patterns rise? What choices reflect the version of me I am becoming? You do not need to change your whole life at once. You need to master the moment you are in. And that mastery comes through ritual, through repetition, through reverence for the small. Because the small is never just small. It is the soil where greatness grows. And when your daily life reflects your desired identity, the universe listens. It mirrors you. It reinforces your signal. And your outer world begins to match your inner rhythm. Not as a reward, but as a reflection. So begin each day with clarity. End each day with gratitude. And live each moment with the awareness that your habits are not just actions. They are declarations of who you truly are. Even with your new habits in place, even with clarity guiding your day, there will be moments when the old emotions return. You will feel waves of sadness, fear, frustration, or doubt. And when they appear, you might be tempted to think you have failed, that you have fallen back, that the change was an illusion. But that is not the truth. These moments are not signs of failure. They are signs of release. What you are feeling is emotional detox. Your body is not punishing you. It is purging what no longer belongs. Think of it like a deep cleansing. When toxins leave the body, there is often discomfort. Old emotions are stored energy. When you begin to change your identity, those energies rise to the surface. They are looking for resolution, not to harm you, but to be witnessed and released. This is the process of integration, and it is sacred. These are not breakdowns. These are breakthroughs in disguise. You are not regressing. You are reorganizing. Your nervous system is learning to stabilize at a higher frequency, and sometimes that requires letting go of layers that were buried long ago. So when an old feeling comes back, do not panic. Do not judge. Observe. Acknowledge the feeling. Say to yourself, I see this. I recognize this pattern, but I am not this anymore. That statement is powerful. It creates a gap between stimulus and identity. It allows the energy to move without becoming your truth. The emotion is real, but it does not define you. It is just residue leaving your system. These are what we call integration days. Days when everything feels heavy, when your body feels slow, when your mind feels foggy. These are not setbacks. They are signs that change is taking root. Your system is adjusting. Your cells are recalibrating. You are clearing space for a more stable vibration. So treat these days with compassion. Give yourself more rest, more silence, more softness. You are not weak. You are healing. Imagine you are cleaning out an old room filled with dust and forgotten boxes. At first it looks messier than before, but that mess is progress. You are sorting. You are clearing. You are preparing the space for something new. The same is true for your inner world. When emotions rise, it is because you are strong enough now to feel them without being consumed. This is growth, not retreat. And the more you welcome these moments with awareness, the faster they pass. Resistance makes them louder. Acceptance allows them to move. So be gentle. Speak kindly to yourself. Remember, the presence of old energy does not mean you are failing. It means you are evolving. You are doing the deep work, the quiet work, the work that rewires timelines and reclaims power. And that kind of work is not always visible, but it is always valuable. Each time you stay present through the discomfort, you build resilience. Each time you choose awareness over identification, you become stronger. Each time you offer compassion instead of criticism, you become more whole. This is how true embodiment is born. Not in the perfect days, but in the challenging ones. Not when everything is clear, but when you stay present despite the storm. These moments are not interruptions. They are initiations, and they are guiding you deeper into alignment. So the next time you feel yourself slipping into old emotions, take a breath, place a hand on your heart, and remind yourself this is not a setback. This is energy leaving. I am not the emotion. I am the witness. I am the space. I am the new self becoming real. And with that, you keep moving forward, not faster, but deeper, not louder, but clearer. Until one day, you realize the emotion no longer owns you. It simply passes through, and you remain anchored in truth. That is the power of inner transformation, and that is exactly what you are doing now. You have moved through discomfort. You have faced the emotions that once defined you. You have learned to observe rather than become. And through this quiet revolution, something extraordinary begins to happen. The world around you responds. Because when you shift your frequency, you do not shift alone. You change the energetic architecture of your environment. This is not metaphor. This is resonance. You are not just creating personal transformation, you are creating ripples in the collective field. Every time you choose presence over reaction, that choice radiates. Every time you breathe instead of explode, that stillness sends a signal. Every time you embody your higher self, that embodiment becomes a mirror for someone else. This is the beacon effect. You become a light in a world that often forgets how to see. Not by preaching, not by pushing, simply by being. Your energy speaks louder than your words. Your coherence inspires without explanation. And those around you begin to feel it. Some will feel safe near you. Others will be triggered. Both are evidence that your vibration is active. You are interrupting the inertia of unconscious living. You are reminding people of what they buried. You are showing what is possible without saying a word. This is how the quantum field responds. It does not wait for permission. It follows coherence. Your coherence becomes a guidepost for others still finding their way. You are no longer just healing yourself. You are activating others. You are becoming part of something larger than your personal story, a collective awakening, a subtle yet powerful wave of humans remembering their light. And your role in this wave is sacred. Every conscious action you take sends information into the field. Every aligned decision becomes a transmission. You may not always see the impact, but it exists. Just as a stone dropped into still water creates ripples that reach the shore, your presence touches lives you will never meet. A child watches how you stay calm and learns emotional regulation. A stranger senses your peace and softens their own resistance. A friend hears your words and remembers their power. You may never receive the credit, but that is not the point. Impact is not about recognition, it is about contribution. And every time you hold your frequency with love, with integrity, with awareness, you contribute to the shift. You stabilize the new energy. You expand what is possible for others. You become living evidence that change is not only real, but contagious. This is the ripple effect of inner work, and it is why your journey matters beyond your own life. It is why your healing is not selfish. It is service. You are a walking permission slip for others to rise, a living declaration that it can be done. And that impact multiplies, because when one person shifts, they affect 10 more, and each of those 10 affect 10 more. Before long, what began in silence becomes a current of change that moves through families, communities, even generations. You are part of that current now. You are not doing this alone. There are thousands walking with you, some visible, some unseen, but all tuned to the same frequency of awakening. You are not just an individual on a path. You are a note in a symphony, a spark in a larger flame, and that flame is growing. So hold your light high, not in ego, but in remembrance. Not to be seen, but to guide. Because someone right now is searching for a way through the dark, and your light may be the one they find first, not by accident, but by alignment. This is the power of one person fully aligned with their truth. And this is the role you now play, not just for yourself, but for all of us. You now understand your power. You have released the old identity. You have rewired your mind. You have stabilized your energy through ritual. You have walked through emotional detox with compassion. You have become a beacon for others. And now, only one thing remains: activation. The shift from knowing to doing, from learning to becoming, from waiting to embodying. This is the moment where you cross the threshold, the moment where you stop preparing and start living as your future self. So take a breath and ask yourself clearly, am I ready to step into who I truly am? Not next month, not when I feel more confident. Right now, this is your invitation. You are not being pushed. You are being called to make a declaration to the field. A choice that says I am no longer available for the version of me that no longer fits. Speak it aloud. Feel it in your chest. Let it echo through your nervous system. I no longer embody a version of myself that is out of alignment with my highest frequency. I no longer recreate timelines that reflect limitation or fear. I am not waiting for proof. I am becoming the proof. This is your declaration. Simple, clear, magnetic. And from this declaration, take aligned action. Action is what anchors the shift. It is how you speak to the quantum field in a language beyond words. So do something today that your old self would never choose. Start with one small decision that belongs to the new version of you. Then repeat it tomorrow and the day after that. Let your choices be your signal. If you feel called, share this moment of shift. Write a comment below. Declare your readiness. Speak from the new self. Let the world witness your decision. Or open your journal and write down 3 things you will do differently starting today. 3 actions that reflect who you are becoming, not who you have been. Use those actions to communicate with the universe, not from hope, but from embodiment. You are not asking for transformation. You are demonstrating it. Every movement, every word, every breath becomes a message to the field, a message that says, I have arrived, I have chosen, I am ready. And when you move from that place, the quantum responds, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. The next chapter of your life is already coded into your frequency. Your only task is to match it, to hold the vibration, to act from the version of you who already lives there. This is how timelines collapse, not through effort, through energy, through resonance, through embodiment. And if you are ready to go deeper, to expand your energy even further, to master the art of conscious creation in every area of your life, then the journey does not stop here. There is more waiting, more to activate, more of you to remember. Stay tuned for the next video, the next experience, the next initiation, because you are not just shifting one habit or healing one wound. You are awakening a destiny that was always yours. And it begins with one clear moment. This moment. The moment you stop waiting for change and become the change. So ask yourself again, am I ready to step into my quantum destiny? And if the answer is yes, let that yes guide your action today. Let that yes shape your breath. Let that yes shape your posture. Let that yes move through every word you speak. Because when you say yes with your energy, the universe will answer back. Always. Without hesitation. Without delay. The field is listening, and it is already responding.